Welcome back to another episode of Laugh and Be Blessed. The new season, new show, but all the same giggles and blessings. I'm your host, Jake Rubel, and we're doing things a little bit different this new season. As anyone who's been following the podcast for a while knows, we are extremely blessed. Myself, you, my family, blessings have been great. But unfortunately, due to that, my time has been very squeezed, if you will. It's been very difficult finding a balance between this thing that is a dream. It was a dream that I wanted, and it has been coming true. Between the balance of that, family, being a husband, and self. It's been a very tricky balance, to be honest, and I've not been doing great. If we're being completely honest, I've been doing so bad at it that a couple of nights ago I was in Boston, and out of nowhere I just got so sick feeling, lightheaded, felt like I was going to pass out. Luckily I kind of powered through it, and whenever I got back home finally, I still felt the same way. I felt like I was just crashing, like it just wasn't good. I went to sleep, I woke up, my head felt weird. I still felt like something was off. And then today, my guy AJ texted me, and he had to go to the hospital and was treated for exhaustion. And I'm assuming the same thing was happening with me. That's why he checked on me, because he was like, hey, what was happening with you started happening with me, and this is what it was. So obviously, I've been doing a very poor job of balancing my time and energy into things. And to be honest, podcasting is something that I love. I've been doing it for years, even before this show. This is probably the third or fourth podcast I've really been a part of, as far as like creation. And I've not been doing this. I've not been spending time with my children the way that I should. I've not been being the husband that I should, and I've damn sure not been taking care of myself, if I'm going to be honest. It's been, stretching myself thin. But it's one of those deals to where it's like people always say, be careful what you wish for. And I am so blessed that I'm living my dream, but whenever you achieve it, here's the thing. Everybody always says this. Whenever you get the thing that you've been wanting, people always say, like, money can't buy happiness and stuff like that. A lot of times you get the thing, and it's not the thing that you thought it was. But I think it is. I think the problem is that we don't reprogram our brains into working in this new environment or new level that we're at. Like, the issue is that whenever you reach that plateau, if you will, or you reach that next level of the thing that you've been struggling for and the thing that you've been striving for, you can't be the same person that you've always been. You have to adapt. You have to change. You have to make changes. And I don't think I was doing that. To be honest, when we first started the show, I was so focused on mental health. I was so focused on being happy, being healthy, being the best versions of ourselves that we can be. And if you go back and listen from the beginning to now, it slowly started to become more about the laughs, which is okay, which is fine. I want that. I'm a comedian. I think that laughter is one of the best medicines. The problem is that I was so focused on that aspect of things, the mental health side of things started to fall away. That's what we can't let happen. So after discussion with Chia, brief discussions with Chia. A lot of this is going to be a little bit of news to her as well, but we've talked about it. And after really self-evaluation to try to figure out like what is it that I want, I decided to have a new season of the show start. We're going to keep it being Laugh and Be Blessed because that, I feel like, is the purpose of the show anyways. But we're going to enter into this new season, if you will, to where we're going to continue on. I'm not doing away with the way that we've done things. Obviously, me and Chia are still going to be able to sit down and talk about our day-to-day life, talk about things together, and have fun and laugh because it's my favorite thing to do. However, because of our time, it's hard to do that. So I'm going to be sitting down more often and doing a solo podcast where we discuss whatever's going on in that moment with me. And currently, this is what I'm struggling with, is figuring out my time management. And I think that trickles down to just about everything. And I think once we get to the point to where we're honest with ourselves about the things that we're struggling with, like, we don't want to call the things out sometimes. We don't want to call them out because we're worried that whenever we call them out, we give them life and we give them power, we give them value. But the thing is you have to call out the things that you're fighting anyways. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just ignore it and still battle. You have to be facing it head on, and you have to know what you're up against. You can't just go into it blind and hope that you're going to make it out the other side and be okay. And so that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm looking at it, I'm saying, okay, what's the thing I've been struggling with the most? And the thing I've been struggling with the most is my time management, because my time management rolls down and trickles down to every other aspect of my life. If I am not giving my kids the time that they deserve, then I'm not a great father. If I'm not giving my wife the time that she deserves, I am not a good husband. And where does that all come from is me figuring out how to manage my own time. Because guess what? If I'm not giving myself the time that I deserve, I'm not going to be a happy, healthy human. So let's figure this out together. I don't have notes. I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about until I hit record. But you know what? That's the way I do my stand-up comedy, and that's why I'm going to do this podcast. It's from the hip. I'm not going to worry about having everything be perfect because I'm not perfect. And if this isn't what you want, I'm sorry. If this isn't the type of podcast that you want, I'm sorry. Chia will still be on some episodes, but every now and then I think it's okay for us to talk about these things. And let me tell you the main reason why I wanted to do the show kind of like this. I love getting messages from people. As my social media has grown, and as my fan following across the country has grown, I've gotten more and more messages from people. Here's my issue. Most of the messages now are, "You're very funny, I can't wait to see you in my town," and stuff like that. Or, "Oh man, I'd love to burn one with you sometime." Stuff like that, which is fine. I appreciate the messages. Thank you. But the messages I used to get were things like, "Oh, I was dealing with depression, and watching your videos really helped me," or "I've been struggling with this mental health issue, and then listening to your podcast really helped me find what I needed to do to get healthy." I don't get those messages anymore. And you know why? It's because I'm not shining that light. I'm shining a different light. I'm focusing on something else, which is great, but why can't I marry those two things together? They're both very important to me. I mean, comedy obviously is the dream that I have. It's extremely important to me. I love making people laugh, but I also want people to be happy and healthy. So I'm going to be focused on that, to be honest. A lot of the material that I'm going to be like kind of focused on. Again, I made a change. I haven't even talked to you guys about this really. I made a change a few months ago where I don't write a set list anymore. I just go on stage and start talking. And obviously I have stories, that I've over the last few years have developed on stage that I know I have in my back pocket and can use. But if I can just get out of the moment, more in the moment. If I could just get out of my own way and get more into the moment, I have more fun, and I feel like the crowd has more fun. Does it mean that I'm going to be one of the greatest comics ever? No. Is it probably going to hurt me career-wise? Possibly, but I don't care. Like, I'm trying to do something that makes me happy. As long as I can pay my bills doing it, I don't care. I don't care about being the best. I'm never going to be the best anyways. but I can always be the best me, and the only way I can do that is by just being me. So, because I started that on stage, and I really feel like things have changed and things have been better, and I've definitely felt better since doing it, I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to do that with the podcast too. So whenever you get these solos, they're going to be maybe sometimes rambling. Maybe sometimes I'm going to have a specific thought that I want to dive into. And today that specific thought is time management. What are we doing to manage our time effectively? All of us. Because I think that if we're not focused on it, it's weird. It's one of those things where we don't think about it, right? It's like breathing. You don't think about breathing, it just happens. It's the same thing with time. We don't think about time. Time just happens. And regardless if you're thinking about it or not, it's still going to happen. It is going to constantly be moving forward. What I don't want is I don't want to get to the point in my life where I all of a sudden lost out on all of that time. I don't want to be 65 years old and realize that I could have been a better parent or I could have been a better husband. I want to take care of those things now. I want to focus on those things now. I want to look at the time that I have as a blessing and say, okay, how am I going to spend this time? I'm not good at managing money. I think we all know that. We all know that if I have money in my pocket, I'm going to want to spend it as soon as possible. I'm getting better with it. I am getting a lot better with it, mostly because I give all of my money to Chia now, and I'm like, just pay all the bills. I'm not buying things. I just want you to pay bills. But I think that is actually moving over into my time management. It's like I have all this free time because of, my work schedule. Like, yes, I have been gone quite a bit in the last few months, but occasionally I'll have an entire week at home. I remember back in the day, I like a whole week off, a whole week where I'm at home. That would be amazing. I would love nothing more than that. I mean, people schedule vacations just to have that. Now, I'm not getting paid for this week. However, I have a week off. I have 2 weeks off right now. Currently, I have 2 weeks where I'm going to be at home, kind of. I have one night I'm going to be gone, but then I'll be right back home. But because I have this abundance of time, it's like I'm not spending it wisely. It's like if somebody gives you $1 million, you're going to be doing a lot up front. You're going to be spending a lot of that money. You're going to be going out and doing everything you can to spend all of that money. And then you're going to run out. But maybe some of those investments have a return. So then you make a little bit more money. But then you're going to spend that pretty quick. And that's what I've been doing with my time. It's like I'll have this abundance of time where I'm at home. I'm like, the first day or so, I'm like, I need to recover from the road. But then I'm not figuring out what to do with the rest of my time. I'm just letting it go by. It's like wasting away. And I don't think about it until I run out of time and I have to go back on the road. And then I'm back on the road. I'm investing in myself. Things are going good. And then I get another week home. You see what I'm saying? It's like we have an abundance of money. We spend that money until we run out. We get some more money. We spend that money until it runs out. I'm doing that with my time. I have got to figure out a way to be better about my time management. And it sounds very simple, very easy. Okay, well, Jake, just figure out what you want to do and spend time doing that thing. The issue is that we get so mentally blocked into a routine that it's hard for us to get out of that routine and start doing other things. I want to work out. I've talked about that since we started this podcast. I continually talk about my physical health. Oh, I want to go to the gym. Oh, I want to diet. Oh, I want to do this. And then I'll do it for 2 weeks, and then I don't do it anymore because I fall into old habits. And instead of trying to train my mind into adding another habit, I just need to retrain my mind to get rid of the habits that I already have. I just don't know how to do that. That's the problem that I'm working with, is how do you do that? How do you retrain who you are and become a completely different person without losing who you like, the parts of you that you like? I just feel like I don't know. Guys, I feel like a lot of times that I am losing control or losing a grasp of who I am. I want to be the most authentic me that I can possibly be. I want to be a good person to everybody I meet. And when I've talked a lot about when I left religion. And I don't think I've ever really got into how much it actually hurt me to leave. Not while I was there, but to leave. I think it hurt me a lot more than I let on, or that I even tell myself. I don't know why. I don't know if it is. I think it's just because I believed in something so much and believed that I was the thing, or like in the right position. And I believed in it so much that whenever it all came crashing down, it was like, well, what do I believe then? And I don't know if I've given myself like time to sit down and figure out what it is that I believe. Man, I don't know. I don't know what I believe. I honestly don't know. But I think it's okay. I do. I think that it's okay to not know. I think we should care. I kind of care that I don't know what I believe. But I'm not going to stress myself out over it. And I'm not going to just jump into something. I want to know and feel it 100%. I do feel that there's a God, honestly. I do feel like that there is. I've had many situations in the last couple months where I've prayed and I feel like my prayer was heard. But I don't know where that leaves me with everything. So I think whenever I left and I was so hurt, it was almost like I had to completely be somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, that dude sucked. That version of me was unhappy. That version of me was untruthful. That version of me was hypocritical. I don't want to be that, but not all of me was like that. Most of it was just the stuff on the outside. So finding out how to find myself, I guess you could say. Because, again, I left this thing that had become my life. And I tried to get so far away from it that I think that a lot of the stuff that I was doing was just maybe rebellion. But that sounds like too Christian for me, to be honest. I mean, because that's what a lot of times we'll be like, oh, well, you left the church, now you're rebelling against the church. Wasn't that. It was me. It was who I was. I was rebelling against who I was because I was so unhappy that I was like, if I could just be the opposite of this, then I will be happy. And to be honest, I am happy. I'm not depressed. I'm not wanting to end everything anymore. I feel good, and I have since I left and started doing comedy. But, I wonder if there's parts of me that I left behind that I shouldn't have. And I think that's what I'm trying to figure out now. Like I said, being time management, I think all of this comes back to that. Am I spending enough time with myself to figure out who I truly am in order to be the best person that I can be for everybody else? No, I'm not spending enough time with myself. When I have time alone, I am playing video games or watching TV. I'm doing a lot of other things than saying, okay, I need to focus on something. And then not just that, then I start feeling guilty because I'm not giving my kids the time that they deserve. I'm not giving Chia the time that she deserves. I'm not giving my profession the time that it deserves. And it's all because of all these other things. It's like, if I could just cut it up, split it up, figure it out, things are going to be a lot better. So what I am proposing is that I'm going to take 10 minutes a day. Not a lot. Very manageable. But I'm going to start with 10 minutes a day. I'm going to take 10 minutes a day where I sit down by myself and just ask myself, what am I doing today to be better? It sounds stupid and cliche, but things are cliche for a reason, because they work most of the time. So, what am I doing today to be better? What are we doing today to be better? I think I've said it on the show before, but people ask me a lot of times. Listen, I'm not a big deal, and I know that. I'm an opener in comedy clubs. I have people who like me, and I love that. But I'm not, headlining clubs across the country and selling out shows. I'm not doing that. I'm not selling tickets based off of my name. I'm very blessed and very lucky to be in the position that I am. So I don't want this to come off like ridiculous. But I do have people ask me at times, how did I gain success so quickly? Because, in my opinion, I'm 4.5 years into comedy, or just over 4 years into comedy, and it's paying my bills. That's successful to me. I don't know what everybody else's definition of success is, but guess what? To me, that's success. That's what I wanted. Yeah, it'll be nice whenever it's more money and I'm doing more shows that are with my name on them, but it's fine. I'll get there. I'm not worried about it. But whenever people ask me that, I always say that there are 3 rules that I live by, and they're in order of importance. The first rule is, do not be a dick to anyone, no matter what. And that's hard a lot of times, and I'm not always good at it. But I think that if we could get to the point to where we're just trying not to be angry, or trying not to be judgmental, trying not to be overreactive to certain situations, well, it's going to be better for everyone. I was in Boston on Sunday, and it was one night. We were only in Boston for one night. And again, I did not feel good. I felt very rough. I hadn't been sleeping very much. I had a show on Thursday in Nashville. And then Friday, I flew to Detroit, had a show Friday night. Saturday, I had 2 shows. Sunday, I flew to Boston, had a show Sunday night. And then Monday, flew back to Nashville to get my car and drive home. So, I packed a lot into a weekend. Wasn't feeling good. Wasn't sleeping right. I wasn't taking care of myself. Wasn't eating right. We wake up the next morning. Our flight had been delayed. We were supposed to leave at 5:20 in the morning. Now our flight's not leaving until after 9. Our flight boards at 8:49. We wake up at 7 in the hotel. I get ready. I wake AJ up. He gets ready. We get the Uber. We get to the airport. I get in the TSA line. And AJ has TSA pre-check, so he can just go through. I don't have that yet. I need to, because that would help my time management. I go through TSA, everything's fine, and then one of my bags goes over to the other side, meaning they're going to search my bag. It's not a big deal. I have a keychain on my keys that has a fake bullet on it. I'm assuming that's what it is. The keychain is not important. To be honest, I forget that I have it until I get to the airport. And it's never a big deal. They're just like, oh, it's just a keychain. So anyways, I walk up there. There's 3 other bags ahead of mine that he has to search. So I'm standing there. Mind you, my flight boards in 15 minutes. My fault. Time management. I get up to the window, and he's like, this your bag? I said, yeah. He's like, I'm going to search it. And I said, in the front pocket, there's a keychain. It's a fake bullet. That's probably what it is. And he's like, yeah, it did pop that area. So he pulls it out and he's like, is it a live round? I said, no, it's a keychain. He goes, okay. And he was just about to put it back in and let me go. And then he said, well, let me check with my boss. And he goes to his boss. His boss comes over and he says, is it a live round? I say, no, it's just a keychain. And he goes, okay, well, we're going to have to call it into the state police. And I'm like, sir, it's just a keychain. I said, my flight boards in 10 minutes. I have got to go. And he goes, well, hopefully the cops will be here in 10 minutes. and then just ignored me. I could have been a dick in that moment. To be honest, I wanted to really bad. I wanted to just yell at this dude and just be like, bro, it's just a keychain. Why are you holding me here? But at the same time, what if it wasn't a keychain? What if I was somebody else? What if something else was going on? He's just doing his job. So I chill. The police officer gets there. He questions me a little bit. I'm free to go. I made my flight. If I would have yelled at this dude, if I would have lost my cool, maybe not even yell, maybe just be condescending a little bit, be a little bit of a jerk to him, maybe he would have, who knows what would have happened. He could have, we could have gotten an altercation, and then the cop came, and then I was detained. Like, a lot of things could have happened. But all I'm saying is, in that moment, I felt well within my rights to kind of be a little bit of a dick to him. Because it's just a keychain. It's obviously a keychain, too. It's not like it looks like one. It's an obvious keychain. But I wasn't, and everything was fine. So that's the first rule. Second rule is, be a good hang. Be somebody that people want to be around. Well, if you're not taking care of yourself, how are you going to be able to do that? If you don't want to be around yourself, why is anybody else going to want to be around you? You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at right now, is trying to figure that part of it out. Trying to figure out how to be the best me that I can possibly be. And then the third rule is just kind of be funny. If you just do those three things, like, you're going to be successful. I feel like, at least. That's what's worked for me. But I don't know. I think that always having plans and never following through with plans is a problem for me. Chia kind of pointed that out to me when we were in Florida. We had a great time in Florida. I was able to take Chia and the kids with me. I had a week full of shows, except for 2 days. I had 2 days off. And on those 2 days, I spent all that time with them. I told them they have my undivided attention for those 2 days, and that's what we did. I did what they wanted. Took them to the beach, took them to Disney Springs, spent some money, had good food. We had a great time. The rest of the week, I have to work. But, I mean, it's just shows. Like, I'm only gone for a few hours a night at clubs, I could have, been better about delegating my time during the day. Well, at one point, I told everybody that we were probably going to go to the beach on Saturday. I was like, yeah, the plan is Saturday. We'll go to the beach. We'll have a good time before my show. Well, Saturday rolls around. I stayed up all night. And I wake up. She and the kids are getting ready. She's like, are you coming to the beach? And I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to make it. And she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, I'd like to, but I have a show tonight. And the problem is that I'm worried that I'm going to go out. I'm going to, get baked by the sun, basically. I'm going to be dog tired by the time that we get back. And I'm just not going to have a good show. Because to me, I was like, well, that would be irresponsible. And she's like, no, I completely understand. She was very sweet about it. She said she understood. She got in the car and she left. When we were home, after that trip, we were talking, and Chia said that really hurt her feelings. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, you had just said that you were going to take us to the beach, and then you didn't. And I was like, well, yeah, but I had to work. She's like, no, I get it, and I'm not upset about that. She's like, it's not the fact that you had something else that you had to do. She's like, it's important. We were on your work trip. But the fact that you said that you would take us, and then you didn't. I was like, yeah, but I thought you understood that, that was just, if I can make it. She goes, I understand that a lot of times, but your 11-year-old son doesn't. She's like, whenever we got in the car, the kids were like, Dad's not coming? And she's like, no, because he has a show tonight. And they're like, oh. And it wasn't like they were, bummed. They were let down. They thought Dad was going to the beach with them. And I did not think about that, because in my mind, I'm just like, yeah, we'll probably do this. And if we don't do it, it's not a big deal. But, I don't say it like that. I say, yeah, we'll go to the beach. And then whenever that time comes, it's like, oh, well, that's just not going to work out. That's not in the plan for today. And it's like, oh, well, that affects other people. And I didn't really think about it like that. And whenever she said that, it's kind of made me, really start looking at everything. It's made me really start looking at everything and figure out what it is that I need to work on. Obviously, communication. Not good at that. I don't want to let my family down. I don't want to let my friends down. I don't want to be unreliable. Even if to me, I'm not making promises, I'm making plans. But to a lot of people, plans are promises. I'm just a spontaneous dude. So I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to fix that. I don't want to be like that anymore. But again, that comes back to time management. What am I doing with my time? You know, I mean, if I would have looked at it while we were there, if I would have looked at it a little bit different and thought, okay, well, we can, if I get to bed early, I can get up early, we can go to the beach, I can be home by noon and take a nap and then do the show. Or I can be home by 2 and take a nap and be ready for the show. I didn't do that. I wonder if these episodes are just going to be like me reflecting on on what I'm doing wrong in my life. But who cares? That's fine. Why don't we reflect more on that as a society, as people? I don't know. That's what I'm going to focus on this week. I'm going to take 10 minutes a day. I'm going to try to figure out how I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday. And I am going to work on managing my time better. And that includes the podcast. That includes doing episodes. Even if some of them are like this. I mean, I might do an episode next that makes no sense because it has nothing to do with any of this. And I'm okay with that. If that's what's going to happen, so be it. I just hope you guys stick around and ride this thing out with me of self-discovery and laughter. We will have Chia on other episodes, and not every episode will be like this. This is the Jake Rubel podcast. It is not going to be normal. But hopefully that's why you guys are here. If you're not already following me on social media, please do so. Let's do like Instagram mostly. That's what I really need to focus on the most. So let's do that. If you guys would just, look at that, that'd be awesome. And yeah, the door keeps opening and closing because I have people coming in to my cabin right now while I'm doing this, and I'm not going to stress, and I don't care. I'm not going to edit this thing out. This is raw. This is what we're doing. I really, really sincerely love you guys, and I appreciate those of you who have stood by and stuck it out and shared things and commented and just been along on this wild ride. We're on a different level, and we're working it out. So I love you guys so much. I hope to see you at a show soon. And thank you for listening to this episode. Do me a favor and go to Facebook. Go to Jake and Chia Rubel's Blessed Ones on Facebook. And comment if this is anything. If you're just like, that was the worst episode you've ever done, fine. Tell me. If you're like, you know what? I kind of dug that. I definitely want to hear that. I most certainly want to hear that. The other one, fine. I might need to hear that. That one, I want to hear it. I want to hear that love. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I will be back soon with another episode of Laugh and Be Blessed. With a giggle or a chuckle, tickle in your belly like a furry belt buckle. With a giggle or a chuckle, tickle in your belly like a furry belt buckle. Ain't nothing wrong with a giggle or a chuckle, tickle in your belly like a furry belt buckle.